vidIQ.com.
Hey, welcome to the only podcast that you listen to every week. I'm Travis, and here's Jen.
Hi.
So today we were promising y'all that we would go through analytics. Now, in fairness, Jen, this is going to be kind of heavily visually oriented. So if you listen to the audio podcast, I recommend checking out the YouTube video. However, you still will be able to gain some information if you can't see everything, but there will be instances where you're thinking, wait a minute, I can't see it. Well, you just go over to the YouTube channel and watch the YouTube video. There'll be a link in the show notes, I'm sure.
I think it'll be mainly good for audio, but I think that if you don't know where to find the things we're talking about, that might be where your personal struggle is.
Yes, it's personal to you, not us. I'm sorry, it's your problem. You gotta
we know where it is. We're fine.
Yeah, we know where
we're doing
okay. There's no chance that I will struggle and look for things and fumble along the way here. That's never.
Wait, but have you had that moment where like you cannot find the analytic you're looking for?
Bro, I have had
like you're clicking around like a maniac. Like, I know it exists.
I mean, I've done it with coaching clients, and they've told me where it is. Like in the middle of like, where's this thing? They're like, it's over here. I'm like, oh.
Oh,
that's happened more than once.
I swear
Listen,
I'm professional.
I have no shame. But then I still wow them with the information later. But in the moment, it's like, yeah, you just taught me.
So funny.
It happens. All right. So what are we going to do? All right. So in the last episode, we talked a little bit about analytics and breaking things down and figuring out things. And today we're going to look at a couple of videos, like some that performed well, some that don't, and then one that popped off like way later, and try to figure out like why these things happen, because that's what analytics are good for, to figure out what the heck's going on. Will it give you all the answers? No. But will it give you some answers and clues? Yes. And that's kind of what we're looking at. That's what we're going to be looking at, I should say. So I'm going to share my screen here. This will be the first part where we're going to see things on the screen. If you're watching YouTube, should look fine, I think. Hopefully it looks good.
Good to me.
So this is the vidIQ channel, and you can see here, this is the overall analytics for the channel. About almost 300,000 views in the last 48 hours, and tons of other things going on. 4 million views in the last 28 days, which is phenomenal, which is great. Now, I bring you here because I want to show you one of the things I always look at whenever I'm helping a new YouTube creator try to figure out what type of content they should be making and understand what their channel is doing. And one of the first places you go is the bottom part of the very first page when you hit analytics, which says your top content for this period. Now remember, it's automatically selected for 28 days. A lot of times I like to go to 90 days, but 28 days for what we're about to talk about will actually work as well. And the reason I show this is because this shows what type of viewers are being brought to your channel kind of right now. People that are probably they still have your videos in their watch history, which means they're going to be promoted your stuff. And Jen, as we look across this, we can see one very clear thing that's happening with this channel right now, which is shorts are being watched a lot, because of our top 10 videos, 7 of them are YouTube shorts dominating. So does that make us a YouTube shorts channel?
I think it makes us quite a utilitarian channel. And I think that shorts for quick info go hand in hand. Are we calling ourselves a shorts channel, though?
No, we're definitely not doing that. But, because here's what's really interesting about these. Look at how old a lot of these are. This one's a year ago, January 17th, 2023. It's literally a year ago, June 29th, 2023. So we're getting evergreen views on shorts. For those who can't see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I say a year ago. I actually mean 2 years ago, because it's now 2025, which is kind of crazy. So this one's 2 years old and still getting 96,000 views in the last 28 days.
Wow.
It's
January 2023. Actually
insane.
2 years old. That's crazy.
Literally. That's insane if you think about it. And the rest of these are 2023 or 2024. Of the 7, all of them, the quote newest one is 2 months old of the YouTube shorts. And that has 120,000 views in the last 28 days. So you can get long-term views from shorts. So you might be thinking, well, that one that's 2 years old, what's the traffic source for that? It's YouTube search. So we've noticed this on our channel a while back, that YouTube search performs really well in shorts. It's really kind of interesting because it's not something that we really talk about that much. That, YouTube shorts you can target search for YouTube shorts. Have you ever done this before? Targeted search?
Think it's the best way. It's how I push creators to do shorts if it feels relevant. I mean, we know I hate the shorts, but I have such a reputation now.
Someone said it in the comments the other day.
But it doesn't make sense for everyone's channel to lean like so heavily into both. But if you have things that people are looking for and you have information and it's not just truly entertainment based, I search things in shorts all the time. It's quick. Yeah. It's easy. It gives me my answer. If I don't need a complicated long answer, then why do I want one?
Yeah, and in this particular case, what we're seeing is how to get more views on YouTube Shorts and how to get views on YouTube are the search results that are bringing in those views on this YouTube Short, just like they would on a regular long form video. I'm going to stop the screen share and get us bigified again.
It also makes sense because it's like, why would we go to long form content if we're trying to grow shorts? I don't know. Wouldn't we go to a short to grow shorts?
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess if you want to quickly get the answer, like, how do I make this short thing fast and good?
If I'm trying to make shorts, I'm watching shorts, I'm searching in shorts. Like, that's who I am.
It makes a lot of sense. But I mean, again, that's one of the things that most people hear about shorts. You're getting all your views in the short shelf, which is actually true a lot of the time. But long tail views for something like that really work well in search because people are searching for things. So if you have like a short that is evergreen in some way, titling it in that way and doing a short about that evergreen subject can actually get you views for a very long time, as we have shown there. And it's not something people really think about too much. I think about a lot for long form content, but
yeah, I don't think about like the longevity of shorts for search, but when we think about it, that's exactly how the traffic works for search and longs too. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see it maybe pop off right away. It has to build interest. And when it does, if it's getting the right viewer signals, you're in a good place. But it's a long game. I consider search a long game.
Yeah, matter of fact, let's take a look at one of the other long form videos that's getting views. Here's the interesting thing about this, and I've done this personally before as well. This particular video is how to start your YouTube channel in 2025. It has 1.9 million views, but you also might notice that the video is over a year old. You're like, well, wait a minute. We are only 10 days into 2025. How did that work? Well, this used to be a how to start your channel in 2024, and we just changed the name and the thumbnail because not a lot has changed in the subject matter. I've done this. I did this for a video for like 3 straight years. The same video, just changed it over and over again because there really wasn't anything that changed. And it has done well. 29,000 subscribers gained from it, 1.9 million views. It's going to continue to perform. If the information is the same, you can do this. I always recommend just doing a new video. But if you have a video that's a runaway hit that's getting millions of views, then this is probably the better move. But what you can do is you can take a lot of the same information that's in the video that did well, link it in the description and in the end screens and say, hey, I have a newer version of this video for 2025, and then that a lot of times kickstart off the other video that can typically do well. But in this particular case, this video is doing so well, and right now the number one traffic source is search, and I think we're going to know what the search term is. It's probably going to be how to grow on YouTube. Let's take a look. And we can see right here how to make a YouTube channel. Well, yeah, because this is how to create a YouTube channel in 2025. So how to make a YouTube channel, how to create a YouTube channel are pretty much neck and neck for the search terms. Yeah, and this thing's going to go for as long as we want, Jen. We literally could just change the name for the next 20, 30 years. It's a very relevant
strategy. I've been talking about this with a couple of creators, and I've been talking about it in the sense of they have content that wasn't necessarily geared towards the new year, but we tweaked the title and thumbnail to make it feel a little bit more urgent, a little bit more relative, coming from mindset, productivity channels like that. And we're like, well, you're putting this content out anyways. Let's make it seem new. Let's make it seem fresh, like everybody needs this information now. And the video's in a place where it's the language, the script, and everything is not like this January of 2025. So pulling that out of the title.
Not a fake one that was actually from last year, but the real one.
Pulling that stuff out of the title is not a big deal, and it might help the video when all of this New Year's content is not quite the most important anymore. I think we should walk through a video.
Oh, we're going to.
Like,
we're going to.
Mentally,
yeah.
You're a creator. You look at your click-through rate. You look at your 8 to 10. what are we looking at first?
Yeah, I want to just quickly finish this up. So the reason that I said at the beginning I wanted to come here is to figure out what type of viewership are coming to your channel now, because what ends up happening is if you do a whole bunch of different videos about different subjects, typically you can figure out what YouTube is recommending from your channel on this page over the last 28 days. And if you look at what we have here, we have a lot of stuff about paid, like money, monetization, and of course you have like how do I make a channel and stuff. But you can start to visualize who this person is that's being recommended your content maybe over some of the other content you've made more recently. And in this particular case, monetization and starting your channel are the two things that we can take away from these top 10 that tells me that if I make a video about one of those two subjects, there's a much better chance of it doing well, because that's the viewership that's already coming to my channel, than if I were to just make a random YouTube video about some other random subject, right? So anyone can do this. You go to you hit the analytics page. The very first page comes down. You scroll down to the top 10 on desktop. I don't exactly know where it is on
I don't know
mobile.
if it's the same order for mobile, and I know we had this confusion last episode with an email.
Let me see. I'll just take a look. If you hit
Double
analytics,
check.
analytics.
While you're looking at that, let me just say, if you are a creator, this is your gold right here. Travis has outlined your highly discoverable strategy. This is something that is really challenging for everyone to figure out. You are so close to all your content. You want to create a bunch of different things. You don't know what's going to do well. You don't know, like, you have so many questions. This is your first step to figuring out what's succeeding and what you need to continue to do in a small way for maintenance or a large way to, I don't really run with the traffic.
Yeah. And what it is when you click analytics on the mobile, you just scroll down and it's called real time. It's right underneath the real-time graph. It shows your top 10. Same idea. You look at it, you see if you can figure out what type of topics are working for your channel, make that content. So that's been a strategy for years that I've taught and been taught back when I very first started learning how to do YouTube. Okay, so that's the channel-wide thing. So what happens when you're looking at a video? So we can look at, let's look at, just because we want to keep it positive, let's look at a successful video. I guess we could always look for a video that bombed, but we're going to look at a successful video first. Let's take a look. So this video right here, not quite at 40 days, has 50,000 views. Pretty good, above the average for this particular time period. And it did pretty well. So we got to look at it and see, okay, well, why is it doing well? Because you can see actually one of the things I like is if you look at the top right-hand corner of this screen, you can hit the down arrow and it says first 24 hours. And you can see kind of where it started. And this one always started well. Right, the analytics were always pretty good. Usually this has 5,000 more views than normal for the first 24 hours. But let's go back to since published. We can see in the real-time graph over here that it's still getting about 800 views every 48 hours currently, and most of those are coming through search. So again, we've probably established an evergreen video. So let's take a look deeper into it. First of all, what is this video called? This video is called the 3-minute YouTube Shorts Monetization Update You Need to Know. What's interesting is this is only kind of evergreenish. This is an interesting thought. Let's talk about kind of evergreen. So in that, technically, 3-minute shorts, for as long as they exist, this will be somewhat relevant, right? But it's not as newsy anymore. So what other, I'm kind of think, what other kind of situations will you have like a kind of semi evergreen content? What other things are kind of like that? Let's see. So this is new YouTube Shorts monetization, which is what the YouTube search term that's bringing people in. I think things that are half newsy, like what's
I think
kind of
anything that's
half-newsy?
like just time framed. It could be fashion. Things are going to be out of style, or trends are not going to be, as cool or interesting. Maybe the next year, in 2 years. I think it is kind of like trend driven for evergreen, because a true evergreen video, granted all evergreen videos do die. I just had to have this conversation with someone, my evergreen video died, and I'm like,
oh, I know, it's the worst.
I'm like, they can't go forever.
I know. I wish.
But eventually, like, just the interest and the trend will most likely change. Maybe not be totally different, and you can update that video, but it will change.
Yeah. Well, let's look at, again, this video always did well. We'll have a video we'll be looking at later where a video did not start off well and then did well later, and we'll talk about that. But let's go back to the first 24 hours, and we can see that the overall, the video was doing well right off the bat. So how did it do well? Well, in the first 24 hours, from a perspective of traffic sources, we click on reach. We can hit the good old, we scroll down here and it says how viewers found this video. So browse features. We've talked about browse features before,
Right.
but let's quickly talk about it again because it's incredibly important. Browse is the quote algorithm. It's one aspect of the algorithm. It's the homepage, generally speaking. We actually had this conversation last week about what's the homepage. So when you open up your phone or desktop or whatever, the first thing that comes up is all those videos, just random videos, right? That's the homepage. So we succeeded there. And again, going back, Jen, to talking about you're not just competing against other people in your niche, because when someone opens up their device, whether it be their phone or whatever, they're not just getting all plumbing videos where you just got to beat Joe the plumber. You're getting Joe the plumber, you're getting Mr. Beast, you're getting Joe Rogan, you're getting all these people that you're competing against at the same time and still trying to win that click. How do you do that, Jen? I want to know the secret. I don't even know. You just tell me.
Is there a secret?
Yes, because you told me the secret and I forgot. So I need you to tell me again. Putting you on the spot. Why not?
I don't know if there is a secret. You don't know what somebody else's homepage looks like. I'm like, you don't have a way to win my attention, because if I want to watch a clothing haul or if I want to watch cooking, like that's a viewer behavior that's up to me. It doesn't mean I won't watch both.
Right.
What do I want to watch in that moment? It doesn't matter really how good your thumbnail is. It's definitely going to be, I don't know, whatever my homepage is calling to me. I will say, actually, though, if you do have a really good idea, I think idea is really what kind of sums up too. Because if you have a really good idea and I see that and I didn't feel like watching a cooking video, well, I might be now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Putting a little twist on something that seems kind of ordinary can at times bring you a good viewership. But in this particular case, let's go back to opening up this particular video. This video was a 3-minute shorts monetization update, which in the moment was really important because people didn't know what was going on. So that's why it did so well right off the bat, because this was timely. And then the question is like, well, why is it still going? Because there's no
answers.
There's some and there's none, right? There's some and there's none. The one answer I will give is when we're recording this video, this is we're in January. A lot of people start their YouTube videos and channels in January. We've gotten emails from a lot of people that said, I'm going to start in January. If you remember that, Jen, we've gotten emails over the last couple of months like, I'm starting in January. I hope all
better
of
be
y'all
started.
Y'all better be started.
Everybody who emailed us, you better be working on that first video.
It better already be done. We need those uploads. We need to see them. And people are going to be looking for this information like, okay, how do I monetize and all this other stuff? So that stuff's still going to be relevant. So as you can see here, we're still getting stuff. And the click-through rate kind of has stayed around what it is. Actually, it went up a little bit 21 days in. So knowing that people are still interested in that, it pretty much answers the question. And once the traffic source changed to search, you're just winning the search battle. Right. So if we go back over here, YouTube search is the top traffic source for this particular video. Again, this video is about 3-minute monetization for YouTube Shorts. And if we go back to under reach, you can see that the top thing is YouTube Shorts monetization. We kind of have that in the title. We know that we're going right after what people are searching for. Win, 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 win. Right. So that easily explains why this particular video did well. And I do want to point out one other thing. So people like, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Let's talk about bell notifications. I want you to look at this. 113,000 subscribers got the notification for this video, right? 0.6 of them clicked, which is within the normal rate of on YouTube. That equals 689 views from the bell notification. Out of 113,000 that were sent out, 689 actually clicked it. How much success did that lead to on this video, Jen? I don't know if you know math.
So much.
This video has 50,000 views and 600 of them were from the subscribe.
Where would we be without it?
My goodness, from the bell. Let's see, how many were from subscribers? So if we click on the audience here, we can see non-subscribed, subscribed. There's more people who are not subscribed that watch this video, which is good.
Which makes sense too.
Yes, that's good.
Because they're looking for something. They're not looking for somebody.
Right. And it says subscribed, about almost 17,000 views out of the 50,000 were from subscribed people. The vast majority, 33,000, were from non-subscribed. This is good because you can potentially gain subscribers because these people aren't subscribed. But here's the next thing I look at when I'm on this particular page. The average view duration for subscribed and non-subscribed. I like for them to be as close as possible because ultimately your subscribed viewers tend to watch longer because they know you. They know your content.
You.
They love you. They love you, Jen. They do.
They
love
watch
Jen.
so long. They
45
can't get
minutes.
enough.
They went 45 minutes of Jen. Now, the subscribed here in this particular video says 2 minutes 41 seconds. Again, this is a shorter video, but the non-subscribed is 2 minutes 17. So that's about a 30-second difference. So you might think, oh, that's pretty good. Generally speaking, it's not bad if you're talking about 5 to 10 minutes of average view duration. But when you're talking about 2.5 minutes of view duration, 30 seconds is a long time. That's actually not great. It's still getting views because, again, it's winning in search. And ironically, search-related videos don't have long view durations because, again, people are looking for an answer. So they search for something. I want the answer. I'm out. I don't need a whole bunch of this other things. I don't care about your dog and how that had something to do with your last video. I don't care. Tell me how to unclog my toilet. My toilet is overflowing right now. So once you've found that answer, you're out. So in this particular case, when we look at something that's like almost 3 minutes view duration versus 2 minutes 17, we need to figure out what was it that made the people who are not subscribed stop watching. Did we not get to the point fast enough?
To the retention graph.
And I'm gonna tell you, this is going to be one of my favorite analytics in the entire thing. And you definitely need to watch a YouTube video for this because this is highly visual. They've added so many new features to this page over the last couple of years that it makes me go from like guesstimating to knowing. So when you're here,
and this is a big one. This one is a big difference from desktop to mobile.
Yeah.
Mobile is a good little check. How you doing? We're looking good. Cool. We're not going to learn that much from mobile.
Yeah.
Unless everyone stopped watching your video, in which case you'll know that.
You probably already know. So we're on desktop here. I hit so audience retention. This is what is kind of the definitive percentages of view duration during the video. The second one, which I think is really important, is you're comparing your video's audience retention to other videos on YouTube of the same length. And this tells you whether your retention is above average, average, or below, because it's kind of impossible to know how long the average retention is for a 5-minute, 52-second video, which this is. This video did very well. See,
this is a great one. We need to pause on the fact that you can do this because
yes,
I think that throughout coaching so many creators, especially smaller creators, the desire to compare and ask questions for, well, what's normal, or what should I try to get, or what's what click-through rate do I need for my video to do good? And it's not about a specific number. And it is so different from space to space.
Right.
So this is such a huge, huge analytic. I feel like nobody's talking about that either.
They don't. Only I do. But here's the thing. If I didn't show you, only me. I'm the only one smart enough to do this.
He made this analytic.
If you looked at this without the comparison, like right now you look at it says average 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And again, this is a 5-minute video. It's almost 6 minutes, 5:52. And it says 41% watched. You wouldn't know if that's good or bad. You would think, oh, that's kind of bad. It's not even 50% retention.
Bad.
But when you bring up compared to other videos, the entire timeline is either above average or average. None of it is below average.
Opening. You go, Rob.
Right. Look at that. Way above average on the opening. 30 seconds in, it says way above average. But if you look at it in a void just by itself, you're like, oh, I screwed up. No, actually, you didn't. You did really well. Then the next one, which is newer one, is the detailed activity. So when you look at the regular retention graph, you can kind of tell where people left as things go lower. That means people left. But they gave this detailed activity where you can see literally how many people left at what point in the timeline, which is insane, right? This is probably detail that the vast majority of you watching this don't even need.
Stay out of this.
Yeah, this is in the weeds.
Don't.
This is the weeds. This is that you're 7 feet under weeds area.
Now, is this truly just abandoning content or skipping ahead? Is it everyone who left at this moment, like clicked off the video, or do we know that? Well,
what's interesting is this says start watching and stop watching. So it implies that they stopped watching. When you look at the normal graph and you see these peaks in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle, that implies either A, if you have a timestamp there, that they clicked the timestamp, that's where he started. or that they rewound or fast forwarded to that point. So it's a great question, Jen. In this detailed thing, they say stopped watching. So they're implying that they left. And we have to take them at their word because we have no other way of knowing. But what we can see here is that every once in a while, these little peaks at different parts of the video. And since this isn't a timestamp video, because it's like a 5-minute video, we have to infer that these little peaks mean that people rewound. Mm-hmm. Or rewound, not even fast forward, but rewound.
Plus, they're smaller. Like when you see someone skip ahead, it's a big.
Yeah.
It's a big. Well, typically, it's a much bigger spike.
Especially if a lot of people do it. Yeah. So that's retention, and I love looking at retention. This just gives you an idea. Now, so what do you do with this information? Pretty simple. You watch it while this little red line is going past, and as you see a peak go up, really pay attention to what happened to the 5 seconds or so before it and the 5 seconds after, and figure out why was that part watched so heavily or rewound or whatever. And there's little tricks you can do. Like what I've done in the past, and I'd love to hear if you've done anything, Jen. I've put text on screen, but not put it up really long enough to read it all the way so that people rewind.
Same.
It's a little trick. Like, should you do that? You could argue you shouldn't do that.
Same.
I
think that's a pretty common one. Or like a lot of text.
Yeah.
And I mean, how long are you really going to let it roll?
Right.
If it's a lot of text.
Exactly.
I would say any type of graphic where there's information to take in, you're going to get a click back. There's also like errors, like if something audio wise, someone couldn't understand you, couldn't hear you. I mean, those aren't necessarily on purpose.
Yeah, sometimes they're wrong on purpose, but sometimes they're not. Like, I'm just wrong. I got it wrong. I apologize. But again, so you take all this information, you listen to it, you go, okay, what did I say here that made people stay? And then you look for those dips and you go, okay, what did I say or do here that made people leave? I remember very early on when I was looking at my videos a long time ago, one of the things I looked at was, drop-off rates, like why? And I noticed that if I had either myself or B-roll on for too long a period of time, people seem to drop off and get bored. So it was you had to continually balance and mix in how often you're on screen with B-roll and things that made sense. And a lot of times if you just really pay attention, you can tell why someone stopped watching or listening.
You can.
Yeah.
And these are things like you want to identify these as patterns. Not like I'm never going to do this in a video again, but if I'm making, a very highly discoverable video or a search-driven video, am I going to have 1.5 minutes of, music and B-roll in the beginning? Well, maybe not. Does that mean it doesn't make sense for community content? No. Mm-hmm. It can all be different, but you really want to compare similar types of videos when analyzing this information.
Yes. Similar length videos, similar topic videos, 100%. That's actually so critical, which is why I don't tend to encourage people to look at the channel-wide analytics, especially when it comes to retention and click-through rate, because different videos are completely different and the topics themselves might have their own subcategory. There's a whole way to break down individual things, but I think that's kind of beyond the scope of this. If you want to get super deep in analytics, you should sign up for coaching, which there's a link in the description and in the show notes. They can help you kind of understand grouping things and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah, we can definitely help you with your analytics. We do not have access to your analytics, but we can ask for screenshots and help you walk through what you need to be looking at, looking for, but we do not. There's other levels.
Yes.
If you're looking for a deep dive like that, we have our most advanced opportunity.
There's levels to this, as they say, as the kids say. So let's look back at this, and I just want to clear something up, because here's the thing that YouTube kind of confuses you with data that is perhaps accurate but not necessarily helpful. If we look at this particular video, again, 6 minutes long, says average view duration is 2 minutes 25 seconds. It's a minute less than usual, right? So you would think, it has the arrow pointing down, you would think, it doesn't have as much view duration, so it can't be good, right? But again, if we go back, this video is overperforming for the channel at the moment, right? It's performing very well. So do we look at this thing that says, oh, your view duration is lower, your retention isn't as good, but your views are better? Like, what? How do you take that? And we look at click-through rate. Let's take a look at the click-through rate. The click-through rate for this particular video is in 3 to 4 or 5%, which click-through rate's tricky because you got to look at it on a per traffic source basis to really understand what it means. And I'm showing that on the screen now. For those of you listening, you can actually click, when you go to reach, you click see more under how viewers find this video. And then you will see the click-through rate per traffic source. And if you look here, look at how high it is for YouTube search. So for people who can't see this, for browse features, the homepage and such, it's 4.5%, which is right around the 4% that the overall video has. For suggested videos, which are the up next videos, it's only 1.5. But for YouTube search, which is, remember what I've been saying, is the number one traffic source for this video right now, it's 10.6%. Which is great. And the average view duration is the 217 that we saw earlier for like non-subscribe, which makes sense because most of the views are coming from that right now, and it's heavily going to influence the average view duration. Now you can see the view duration on the browse and the suggested are much higher, even though their click-through rate's lower, because again, that's the algorithm knowing exactly who is going to enjoy this content and serving it to them. Search, again, is someone determining for themselves, I want to watch this video, or maybe I don't want to watch any more than just this, or I just got the answer and I'm out. So I think that's really important.
Super
to
important.
Remember.
So important, too, because you look at a video like this and you're like, oh, my gosh, under 5% click-through rate, which most creators would consider
Bad.
Not a good click-through rate.
Sure.
And what do you do immediately? Well, I'm going to change my title and thumbnail. Based off of that information alone, which comes back to the goal of this video, the traffic you're trying to have this video surface to or be shown through. And really, by looking for the correct information, you're over 10% click-through rate for a video that's made for search. But just looking at what YouTube is highlighting as the overall as 4% is very easy to make drastic and quick decisions that will, in the end, probably hurt the video. If we saw a 4% click-through rate, change the thumbnail 3 times, change the title 3 times, all within 3 days, I mean, we're going to kill that video. YouTube's going to be like, we're done with you. Enough. Relax over there.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to sit down. I'm going to need you to have a seat. So let's take a look at a video that did not do as well. We'll look on the main channel. Of course, it'll be one of the boost videos on the main channel. There's a whole reason behind that, but we'll go ahead and take a look. And this one was kind of unsurprising, but there's a reason why we put it out anyway. So this one is everything you need to know about copyright claims that we put out, let's see, this says 108 days ago. Underperforming, 16,000 views after about 100 days. Retention's not bad, actually. If you look at it from a perspective of normal videos on our channel, we're right around the middle and at some points higher than normal. 36%, 4 minutes view duration. Let's see the click-through rate. So the click-through rate's around 3%. The first day was just under 4, and it's been in the 2 and the 1% ever since after that. We're going to talk about why this is in a minute. We can see that the traffic source is browse is number 1. If we click in, we can see that the average view duration for browse, again, the home page, as the algorithm does, is about 4 minutes. Channel pages, so people who come to vidIQ on the YouTube channel and click it, was actually 4:11, which is interesting. Notifications, 3 minutes, and YouTube search, 3:30. So there's a 30-second bridge between search and browse, which is what we saw before. And at 4 minutes, it would be better to be closer if we could. But still not bad. Now, suggested has a 5-minute view duration. Again, that's YouTube going, you've just watched this video, likely about probably copyright. We're going to show you this other one that you're probably going to like. And they do. And they stay for 5 minutes, which is great. So what does all this mean? Why didn't it do well if, you got some places where you're getting good view duration? Well, number one, we know a lot of things about the viewership on our channel. Vast majority of people on our channel, this is probably above their pay grade, so to speak. It's not something they're particularly worried about, copyright, until they get it. This is the funny thing. This is very much like
not worried till you're worried.
Not worried till you're worried. Like I don't need car insurance. I just was in an accident. I need car insurance. This is one of those things. And we know that. We know when we made it. We were like, man, people are going to not really watch this until they need to watch it, right? Like, oh my God, I got a copyright strike. That's okay. We're servicing the viewership overall and trying to help creators. So it's okay that it didn't do particularly well there. We just know over time it'll do fine. Let me go back and pull this back up.
It's there. It's a resource. Yeah. I think the important thing here is, okay, a video flops. Where are the first places you're looking? And the walkthrough that Travis is showing right now, I would say is really the best thing. Looking at the click-through rate, looking at retention, looking at the traffic. I mean, looking at your audience, but that's
looking
an internal,
at your audience,
that's
which
an
was the number
internal
one
look.
thing. I mean, we already know why it didn't do well, but that's okay. Again,
But it's okay. I wouldn't consider this a video that didn't do well because it is highly serving the group of people that need it. It's not meant for mass appeal. Every video cannot be your most discoverable, your most evergreen piece of content.
but we're going to take a look because this is not necessarily the end of this video, which we'll see when we look at the last video, that sometimes even 100 days later, it doesn't mean anything. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, we're looking at this and we can see that right now the suggested is the current number one traffic source with search rate behind it. So I'm kind of curious.
See what's suggesting
I was just about to say that. That's literally what I want to do.
This is my favorite analytic.
So if you hit reach, you can actually see content suggesting this video. And number one is when you should not upload to YouTube, which is a video you and I did on this channel.
Look at
and
us.
then the second one is how to remove content claims on YouTube, which makes a lot of sense for this one because, again, this video is about copyright claims. And then the third one is YouTube copyright claims and strikes. So all these other ones are about YouTube copyrights and claims, which makes sense. So if we click that where we said see more, I bet you look at the view durations on these. So after they watch me and you, they love us so much they watch it for another 6 minutes. Now remember, the view duration of this is normally 4, but when they've watched that other video, they're watching for 6 on this video. And then these other videos, look at 609 from a channel that isn't ours. Or wait, it is ours from vidIQ. But again, it's about strike force. This one is not though. 537. This one's from Think Media,
which is great because
which is fantastic.
You do want other channels suggesting your content. That's how we get that overlap in audience. That's how we get that little bit of extra exposure. Even on a video like this, if there's just that shared interest, I mean, it's going back and forth. Suggested traffic is my favorite.
Yeah, this is great because you can see the type of videos that are suggesting your content. The other thing is you can also look at the thumbnails from those videos and perhaps make your thumbnail a little bit more aligned with this so people will click it because, again, these are videos that are sharing your stuff, if that's your number one traffic source. But in our particular case, right now it is. But that could change over time because YouTube search is right behind it. And if we look at YouTube search, we can see that vidIQ is the number one search term, which is interesting. And then YouTube copyright rules is number 2, pretty close behind it. And that makes sense. And if we click see more under that, we can see the view duration based on that is 444 for the copyright video, for the copyright rules search term versus 234 when they're just looking at for a vidIQ thing. So this really says that we are servicing the right people. When people are looking for this stuff, they're watching longer, they're engaging, and probably leading to subscribes. We can't really know that, but the rest of it seems legit. Now,
this
Jen?
definitely could be converting people. This is my favorite place for you to just have a little bit of reassurance as a creator. Like you're doing things right. Your suggested traffic is in line. It's in the right place. I mean, sometimes you upload a video and the suggested traffic is like how to raise 6 chickens in my backyard. And you're like, oh,
how
this
do
video
you raise
is
6
not
chickens
in the right place. I don't.
How do you do that?
We don't have the same audience.
I'm going to need you to tell me how you do that. Okay.
I literally saw that. I was like a suggested video for a creator. And I'm like, oh, gosh. We're not trying to raise chickens. We're doing like movie reviews.
And terrible things are happening. Okay. Now, finally, and this is the one that I think everyone was going to pay attention to. How can you tell if a video that you put out, which seemed like it flopped, may actually get a second life? And in a minute here, I'm going to show you analytics behind a video that was completely dead for over 200 days and then just took off. And we'll try to figure out exactly why that was here in a second. All right. So we did a video a while back about the Outdoor Boy. Some of you may or may not remember that. I'll tell you why a lot of you probably don't remember that. Because if we look at the analytics, almost none of y'all watched it. Look at this.
Watched it.
None of you watched it.
What happened?
After 24 hours, there was 6,000 people that watched it after 24 hours. And if you look at the what's going on thing here with YouTube, compared to previous videos on your channel, people who regularly watch your channel are clicking less on this title and thumbnail. Rightfully so. We're a YouTube growth channel. We don't necessarily talk about large YouTubers and stuff and how they blew up because most people who watch this channel are watching it because they're smaller creators. I just want to grow, right? Improving the title and thumbnail might help. We're getting fewer views from recommendations, so everything is bad. It's terrible. What's going on with the retention? Retention's really good, though.
Can we stop on this for a minute, though?
Please.
Because while the retention is great, it doesn't always mean that you deserve 1 million
Right.
hits. Oftentimes retention is really good because you didn't get the good views.
You only got a couple people, and the only people who clicked were the people that were interested in the first place.
But they watched, and that is always a win.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this again, you look at the first 24 hours and even longer beyond that, you can see that like our retention is great. So you might think, oh, we did really well. Why are the views so low? It's because the interest of the people who typically watch the vidIQ channel in such a quick manner within the first 24 hours of our video coming out weren't necessarily interested in this. But YouTube never gives up on your video. So let's take a look at what happens after a long time. So let's look at since it's been published. What happened here was, so for those of you who can't see, it is, I mean, I'm looking at 200 days.
Let's just call it completely flat.
Yeah, it's flat as Montana. It is, 18,000 views after 200 days on our channel. Not good. Then at 229 days, things start picking up and it skyrockets. And within 20 days, it now has 444,000 views and climbing, 26,000 views in the last 48 hours, and it's still going. It's still going. Jen, this video was good as dead. Dead. What happened was...
Patience.
There you go. Number one traffic source, browse. Not
I thought you were going to say patience.
Number one traffic source, patience. But this is why we say never give up on your videos. You never know.
Never.
So the browse features... which is, again, is the algorithm. It's the homepage stuff. It's all the things that you ever hope to be for your video. Took off. It found another video, and we can look at some of the suggested videos and see if we can figure out what's going on. We'll look at the last 28 days, kind of get a breakdown. See, this has all happened in the last 28 days. We can see that some suggested videos, Outdoor Boys interview and stuff, popped off. And likely what happened was, when you see something like this, and you're getting pretty good view durations on these videos from other channels, or YouTube searches, I should say. You're getting pretty good views from that. These are the search like Outdoor Boys Interview, Rise of Outdoor Boys. And then you look at other videos that are suggesting these videos. You actually are getting a lot of... YouTube's gathering information about what people like about this particular subject. Then it has to go and find other videos on YouTube that match for these viewers who are watching this content. And it just so happens our video was good. It just wasn't good for our viewership.
That's true. I think... it's fair to say YouTube is always trying to help you. They're always trying to find the audience for your video. They want your video to be watched and enjoyed and make them money. It doesn't always happen that fast. But you never know. One thing I want to know is if we search Outdoor Boys and we filter views from the last month and see if there's any outlier scores that are like popping off like crazy.
All right, let's take a look. So if we go to YouTube, wait, I gotta share this other screen here. Let's
gotta share this other window.
Share this one. Okay. So we do Outdoor Boys.
Because we saw
Boys.
interview, and I'm wondering if we just search Outdoor Boys and we filter for when did the video take? It was a month ago. Was it more than a month ago?
It was like in the last 2.5 weeks. So when you just search Outdoor Boys, the first thing that comes up is all Outdoor Boys videos specifically, like directly from them, which is kind of unusual to be honest. Like it's usually you'll get something from another creator making content about them, but it's mainly them. So you want me to do what?
So if we filter in the right corner by uploads this past month.
Okay. Well, we uploaded this 200 days ago. But yeah.
But is there any video that has taken off that had skyrocketed this?
Yeah, look at this. Thoughtful Lab got 60,000 views, and they're a very small channel, 2,000 subscribers.
See, what's that outlier score? I see red.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 54 times outlier there.
Here we go. 100 times outlier. The full story of Luke Nichols.
Yep.
Another red outlier score. Heartbreaking, tragic life. Oh. Yeah.
So maybe this stuff had something to do with it. Like all these videos getting more views than normal, then, made YouTube go, okay, well, there's a new interest, a different interest. It's not just Outdoor Boys on their own channel. It's anything about the Outdoor Boys.
Tragic life. Something went down.
What a great
with
title
the Outdoor Boys.
You absolutely have to click that, right? In order to know.
I'm like, all right, the podcast is over. We have to go.
Yeah, we have to go watch this and figure out what it is. But that's how you win, right? The title and thumbnail are like, you need to watch this video. I'm grabbing you through your screen, and you're going to watch this video.
And I think this is another great example of how while you are competing for that click, you're never really competing because all of these videos collectively gave each other more views. If all of these videos didn't come out and generate traffic together, then, well, they'd be flatlined like maybe our video was.
So one of the things that we did is we searched, some of us from the team searched and tried to figure out exactly like why did this video take off. And here's the thought that we kind of figured out. We're not really sure if this is it, but it's a good guesstimation. So this video from 12 years ago is actually one of the guys, I guess, from the Outdoor Boys on a completely different YouTube channel. And it just blew up out of nowhere. As you can see here using our vidIQ tool, it blew up to 1 million views. So something also suggested this thing. So we think we got caught up in whatever this was, either from this video suggesting it or also whatever suggested this video. Now it's looking for any type of video about the Outdoor Boys, and it found about Virginia traffic attorney Luke J. Nichols. Like, that has nothing to do with the Outdoor Boys other than I guess it's the guy, but it's not about Outdoor Boys. It's like his one of his oldest videos. So I think what's interesting is YouTube will look far and wide when it figures out a trend of something that isn't what we typically think. It isn't, let me just find more Outdoor Boys videos. It's like, let's find the backstory of the Outdoor Boys, because that's kind of what that is. You know, it's one of their first videos, I'm sure, that has nothing to do with their current channel. And ours was about like how they came and blew up. So the algorithm itself looked deeply into the content library and didn't just find, let's just give them all the more, videos from that channel directly. People who are watching these videos that are, causing this stir, wanting to know the background. Well, the vidIQ video was one of those. Look at that. We're so smart. I'm not going to lie, though. We had no idea that thing was going to pop off like that. We thought it was dead in the water. But that's YouTube.
That's kind of the fun of YouTube, though. Like, you never know. And then you just, like, wake up and you're like, views? What?
Views? Would you like views? Here are views.
YouTube's way of saying good morning.
YouTube be YouTubing, as I always say here on the show. And if you're watching this on the main vidIQ channel, hit subscribe. And also, we have another video that might interest you right here. All right, so there's that. Again, if you're listening to the podcast, thank you so much for listening. This is just kind of a dipping the toe, but we spent a lot of time talking about a lot of things. And again, if you're listening to the audio podcast, you're probably going to have to watch the YouTube video. I apologize. But this should get you started. And what I'd love to see is after you kind of do the things that we've just walked through, if you have additional questions about like, okay, now I understand all this, but this thing happened, and now I don't understand how to deep dive into it, you can send us an email, theboost@vidiq.com, or you can leave us a text message. If you just click on the show notes on the audio podcast and text it in, you can do that as well. So yeah, I'd love to see what people think about this episode. We talked about maybe doing this episode. We got some comments saying, yeah, I want to see that. We kind of gave you that, hopefully. To be honest, this is maybe the top 25% or 30% of it or 50% of it. There's still a whole other side of this we could go into, but we don't, listen, we got things to do. We got things to do, people to see.
We have Outdoor Boys to watch.
We have Outdoor Boys to watch.
We need to know the tragic heartbreak. I was also like linked on TikTok a little bit, and I think it's blowing up on TikTok too, which would also make a huge conversion for the traffic, because
interesting.
Over the past year, I've seen huge conversion from TikTok to YouTube.
Well, we might see more of it in the coming weeks. We shall see, as it is getting very interesting out there. Keep locked into us, as we'll give you the latest and greatest as we get it. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. Will be more content coming soon. We will see y'all in the next one.